We won't fail. We won't fail.
Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for this day, this Friday of July, and we're just so grateful to be with you here, and we're so grateful that you're with us. God, each of us, we have our own things going on in our life, and I hope this place can just be a place that can be our firm foundation with you, and we can have this instilled not just in our churches or in our home, but in our hearts, that you always can dwell and be with us, because we need you so much in our lives. Whatever we're going through, whether it's difficult or whether it's so happy, we just pray that you can be with us. We really want to hear what you have to say through our speaker, who has so much to share, so much he wants to share. I just pray, God, that he can fill our hearts with hope and perspective, your perspective, God. So please work through our speaker. We love you, and thank you so much for always being with us. And I pray in gratitude and tenderness to Holy Mother, Han, Janong, that our blessed family, and all of our names. Amen. Aju.
You guys can take your seats. So today we want to welcome up a veteran speaker of Home Base, also one of the core team, and someone who really cares a lot about making sure that people feel and understand that their faith doesn't have to look a certain way. Their faith doesn't have to be this thing that we've imagined as high standard, but their faith can be really real and genuine. And that's the most important thing. And today that's what he's going to talk about. He's going to talk about the aspects of faith that are often underrated and that are often overlooked when we think about this high standard life of faith that sometimes gets floated around as an idea. And instead, we want to look at the parts of faith that you can do every day, that you can do in your everyday life, that you can do within your relationships or in your home or with your family, that are just as important as big events or as being in front of people doing things, and oftentimes are underlooked as being important. Anyway, to share more about himself and his talk, welcome up Chanwoo Ong.
I need to stand or something. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you guys. Like Eva said, I want to talk about the underrated aspects of faith. I think it's the reason why we talked about it during our meeting, or like during our preparation meetings for Home Base. We were like thinking, what should we talk about? And one of the most popular things that came up in our survey that we asked like a few months back was like, what does a good life of faith look like? That's like what people wanted to know. I guess I want to start by saying that like it can be really intimidating to have a good life of faith, because I think a lot is expected of us as members of the church, and that's because we hold high standards for ourselves. Like there's a lot of things that we hold close to our hearts and we believe in, but I actually think there are many ways in which having a good life of faith, or I guess just what is quote unquote a good life of faith, actually looks like a bunch of like small, like insignificant things that you may not already think of as like life of faith habits, but they are still parts of a life of faith. So like obviously like a way to pursue a life of faith like very openly and like very obviously is to be a missionary or pursue like church leadership. And of course that's one way, right? To like actively contribute to God's providence as like your main focus in life. that's one way to have a life of faith, right? But it's not the only way, and you don't have to. Yeah, I guess I want to express that you don't have to feel like you make that your life, your main job to have a life of faith. And yeah, so there are plenty of other examples, and like I'm not trying to say like, oh, never be a missionary, like never do anything like that, because if that's your calling and that's what you truly feel like you should do, then totally you should go for it. But I think, at least for me, like I feel like I want to explain how like a life of faith can look like many things, not just that. So yeah, what I'm going to do is go through like a list of things that like I try to go through and try to practice in my life that contribute to life of faith. And I want to clarify, like it's not like an exhaustive list. It's not like I have everything. If you do all these things, you have a life of faith, and if you don't do any of them, then you don't. But it's just what I feel contributes strongly to my life. And so yeah, and like generally my goal is to just like broaden your view of like what a life of faith looks like. And try to like not try to forget about what like you think it is, but like broaden your view of it. So yeah, anyway, I've already talked too much, and I was supposed to introduce myself first, but yeah, so a little bit about me, because I know a lot of you guys, maybe you're here for the first time. My name's Chanwoo. I'm 26 years old, and I grew up in New Jersey my whole life, pretty much. I moved here when I was like 4, and now I'm 26, and I'm blessed to Naomi, who's here. She's right there. Yeah, and I've been blessed to her since 2022. That's a picture of us at the beach, and we had some ice cream, but I don't know if it's because like I turned like 26 recently, but like I entered like my quarter life crisis, and so like the reason I used to like not care about like when people talk and introduce themselves, I'm like I don't really care who you are, but like now I think like more like I want to build relationships with people, so yeah, I think for whatever reason like I come off as someone who doesn't want to talk to people, but I always do. So yeah, feel free to talk to me if you've ever met me before. Anyway, so the main point of my talk, right? So if you forget everything else and like just fall asleep, whatever, just remember this one sentence. I want you to remember that faith is practiced in the small everyday choices, not just the obvious acts. So you can kind of feel that I was getting to that point, but that's what I'm trying to share. So I'll just go through my points now. The first point that I think is an often underrated aspect of faith is to invest in your family and try to cultivate your relationship with them. So like, kind of like, duh, I don't know. To me, it's pretty obvious that this is something we should do, but I've always felt that God's vision for us is to grow in a loving family. I know sometimes our family does not make it easy for us to do that. We're always around our family. We can't avoid them. We can't choose our family. We're just stuck with the one we got. It's not easy to get along with them sometimes. But I think the reality is, especially in our movement, we always say, we have these sayings like one family under God, and like we're the family federation, and like we have things like the family pledge. I really feel like family is the center and like almost the core value of our church. But sometimes we tend to forget it and like put it in the background. I think in order to expand and see one family under God, seeing all of humanity as one family, you have to really start with your own family first and try to, as much as possible, try to create an ideal environment in your family. I actually talked about this in a church sermon I gave like a year ago, but I really feel like God gave us a family to learn how to love others. And I've used this example in the past, but I'm gonna call out Yejin again, because no, I don't have any pictures this time. But I think she's like the complete opposite of me. Like everything we do, it's like everything that I think was the right thing to do, she just goes the opposite way, literally. So that makes it really hard for me to love her, right? It really makes it really hard for me to kind of just like get along, or like she does something one way and I just can't believe that she did it that way. But if I put effort into understanding her and trying to love her, then I can better love others. And right, like if I can love Yejin, I can love anyone, because everyone's less different from me than Yejin. Anyway, I'm making her sound really bad, but it's just because we're different, not because like you're bad. But yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, and then I think for me, especially going back to like relationship with my family, my relationship with my parents is really strong. And obviously, I'm grateful to my parents because they prioritize that from a young age, and they're really nice to me, and they're amazing parents. But especially in terms of my faith, I think having them as like strong people to go to, but also just talk to, has really made me, kept me in my faith. And I think all of us have parents that love us very much. So like even if your relationship with them isn't that good, and of course mine can always improve too, I think it's always worth it to like go to them and just spend time with them, even if it's not natural, or maybe it's the first time even just asking your parents, can we just hang out? I think it's really valuable for me, and like especially with my dad, I wouldn't trade that relationship for anything, because I always go to him for like advice or comfort, and your parents will always be there for you too. So yeah, that's point number one. Point number two is to strive to grow and make the most of your life. So again, sounds kind of vague, but I want to focus on like 2 points. The first one is, I hate this saying, but I used it because like it's the only thing I could think of, but like growth mindset, and then excel in your field. So I'll explain these things, right? The first one is like when I think of a faithful person, I think of someone who takes advantage of the life they're given and like not take it for granted. And meaning like they're always growing, they're always trying to make the most of their day, make the most of their time. And an example I have, I guess going back to my family, is my grandpa. He had his own office in our house, and he would just like be on his computer all day, like researching things. And like that sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not. Like he would like even when he was like 90, he would like research like more things about like the world and like religion, like science, like how they can like coexist and like exist together. And like when I was younger, I didn't really understand like why he was doing that. But I think in a sense it did kind of affect me, because I saw that even when you're old and you're retired and you've like, at least for me, I wouldn't want to be doing anything other than just like sleeping. Like he was still like trying to find answers, trying to learn and grow. And yeah, I guess what this growth mindset is basically like also practicing what you believe, not just believing it. Living a good life of faith isn't just about thinking and like knowing what it is to be faithful, but it's also about exercising and living that faith, like living it out. And Naomi, my wife, her mom has like a really funny way of saying it. It's like, it's not good to just have a big head. Like if you read more, like your head gets bigger, but like you just have a big head. Like you're not doing anything with it, right? So I think, yeah, practically speaking, you should really try to exercise what you believe as well. And I think growing and always growing in your life is part of that. So yeah, I'll go into a quote. This is my favorite quote by True Mother. It says, actually, Yejin, could you read it? Because I need to drink water.
Okay. Some young people complain that adults tell them to work harder without giving them credit for the effort they're already making. Some become pessimistic, feeling that no matter how hard they try, they can't get ahead, and that society is at fault, but they need to take an honest look at how much effort they have actually made. True Mother.
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, maybe reading that quote, it's not immediately obvious how that's related to what I'm talking about, but yeah, the way I interpret it is along that vein of striving to be your best self and like being honest with what you can still work on and what you can still grow in. And one thing I learned recently is that like the third blessing, we always talk about how it's like have dominion over creation, and like, oh, like we just kind of default to thinking it's about taking care of the world and taking care of like nature. And of course that's like a big part of it. But I also learned recently that it's about like achieving individual mastery and really, yeah, excelling in your passion or your belief or your field. So that's why I mentioned excel in your field as well. And the reason I want to stress this point too is because I think most of us or all of us will eventually have our job, and the reality is we'll probably have a job for most of our life. But that doesn't mean that we can just sign away those hours of our life and think, okay, those are separate from my life of faith. Like I used to think that for a long time, where like your job is just completely separate from your life of faith, and you just go there, you get your money, and then you go home. But it's also an opportunity to exercise your life of faith. And when I go to work, I can think it's just work and has nothing to do with it, but I think me excelling at my job, like doing my best, always striving to learn and grow, is also part of a life of faith, because I'm pursuing my expertise. I'm really excelling in my field. And when I excel in my field, others can be inspired by that as well. And yeah, how you behave at work also goes into my next point. And the next one is be representative of God even in day-to-day life. So I'll go straight to a quote, actually. I'll just read this one. Nothing in your surroundings is meaningless. Everything can be used as educational material, as a textbook for self-development. We need to have such an outlook on life. Then even when you are alone, you will not just act as you please. If you live with such an outlook on life, you will not mistreat anyone, whether an acquaintance or a stranger. You cannot treat a person casually simply because he or she is a stranger you meet for the first time. You really do not know who that person is. Therefore, in our life, we need to develop our spiritual senses by relating with our environment centered on the standard of heart. People who never fail to find meaningful value and delight in any situation or incident are no longer practicing a faith that is merely conceptual. Such people practice real faith. Their life of faith is to live together with God. Yeah, it's kind of going to my previous point about representing or living your life of faith as well as believing it. But I like to think, I can represent God in my day-to-day life as well. Not even at work, even when I'm not at church, and even when I interact with people, they might not have any idea that I'm thinking this is a faithful act, right? Like when I interact with them, they might have no idea that I even believe in God. But when I'm thinking and when I'm interacting with them, that's my intention, right? I want them to feel God's love, and I want them to feel, desired, loved, and cared for. And so it doesn't have to be something blatantly obvious, like a faith of practice like hundake or prayer, and people see you doing that. Like even just helping others, being a selfless person, those are all things that others can see you do, and in that way you're being a representative of God. And I talk about this stuff as if I do it, but I'm working on it as well. But yeah. So I think I think a representative of God is someone who carries out God's characteristics, and therefore you're carrying out his love as well. Let me go back. So obviously living for the sake of others is a very God-like characteristic. And I think an obvious example that I always think of when I think of, how can I represent God is, there are athletes, professional athletes, our favorite ones, there's one I really like called Saquon Barkley. He's a running back. He plays football. But anyway, every time I see him take the field, he does that cross thing, right? And that's pretty common amongst athletes. They all like to show their faith. They'll do that to kind of honor God and they'll show their faith. And I always thought it's whatever, it's cool, whatever, they're showing their faith, right? Maybe it's just a fake thing. But I think just observing that, I can see that they're really representing God. And it's just a simple thing. They still play sports, right? They didn't pursue a whole career around being around a faith-based career, right? But they pursue their passion and they can still represent God in that way. And I kind of admire that in a sense too. And obviously, to get to that point, they had to have faith in God. They probably relied on their faith. And once they get to that point, they can use that as a vocal, they can always vocalize their faith as well because they have a big audience. But anyway, that's one example. And yeah, one thing that I do, and I'm probably overthinking it, but I take the bus to my work every day, and I always say thank you to my bus driver when I get off. And you might think okay, everyone does that, right? That's such a small thing. But I guess the reason why I do it is because I saw someone else do it first. And I was that's such a nice thing to do, right? Even though it's really small. And the only reason I'm doing it largely is because I saw someone else do it first. And you can also be that person for someone else. Even though, I guess I'm thinking too much about it, right? Thinking too much of it, but I look into the bus driver's eyes, and I don't know if it's just my bus or whatever, but he looks really sad, and it looks like he's about to quit his job every day. So when I say thank you, maybe it's just white noise, but maybe it does mean something, right? If I was a bus driver, I would be like, oh, everyone who says thank you, like, they're goated. Like, they're like a great guy. So yeah, I'm probably overthinking it, but I like doing that, and I feel like in that way, you are also representing God. I guess one more thing, like, when I was growing up, in like social environments, for whatever reason, I would like, so I was very like socially awkward, like I wouldn't want to interact, I wouldn't want to like start conversations, right? But like, I would go to a workshop, and I would feel like left out if I wasn't in a conversation. But at the same time, like, I didn't have the guts to actually start one, so I'm just in this like awkward state of just like standing in the corner of the room, and like, I feel lonely, but I also don't do anything about it. But there were people who I guess saw this, or maybe they didn't, maybe they're just like that, and like they came to me and like started talking to me, and I felt like I could feel God through them as well, because they probably saw me like in that state. They're like, oh, this guy's like depressing, like I need to like make sure he has someone to talk to. And then like them doing that for me, like I think it meant a lot, and it really helped me like kind of grow my confidence to just talk to people. So like I try to do that. Like, even at work, like I'll notice there are always people who like no one talks to them, or like they're kind of outcasts. Like I try to like talk to them and help them feel comfortable. And I'm not the best at it, but I still try to do it. And yeah, but hopefully you don't feel that like if I'm talking to you and I've never seen you before, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I try to do that sometimes. And yeah, so those are the first three. I have three more, but they're much shorter, so sorry if I'm making things a bit long. But okay, number 4, just show up. This is a very simple concept, but yeah, I go to church every week, and do I necessarily want to go every week? That's like more debatable. You know, if God like spoke to me directly and said, you only have to go to church once a month, like, I would probably be happy, honestly speaking. It's not easy to go to church, you know, wake up on Sunday. Yeah, anyway, it's like you have to go, sometimes it feels like a chore, right? But for me, I still go to church every week, and the reason why, and I asked myself this, actually, when I was making this talk, I'm like, why do I go to church? And I guess the biggest thing is, I do believe that church can be better, and I want to believe that I can contribute to that as well. And I also want my kids to grow up in a church environment with the values that I've always lived with. And for that to happen, like, I can't just sit back and like hope that church will be the best it can be for when my kids are there, right? When I take them there, I don't want to just hope that they have friends to talk to and hope that there are people there for them to, you know, be positively influenced by. I want to create that environment as much as possible. And yeah, so like that's why I say like help first before complaining. Complaining is maybe a strong word. I mean, I definitely complain a lot, but I always try to like reel myself back and say like, okay, before I complain, I have to actually do something and help contribute, and then I can complain. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think one way I think about it as well is that like my first reluctance to go to church is like, okay, like what's in it for me? Like what can I get at church? Like, are there people, are my friends going, or like what can I enjoy out of it, right? And I think ultimately that's a kind of a selfish way of thinking, right? Like, I just care about what I can get out of that thing. And like, the way I think of going to church almost is like, you know, throughout the week I'm doing things out of my own interest. Like I go to work to make money, I go to events, or I do things for my own enjoyment. But like Sunday is that day, or even just that morning, where I do something for God, I do something for others, and in that way, I'm having a life of faith, right? I'm investing in something that I want to improve or be a part of. And yeah, okay, next one. Number 5 is have gratitude, and have gratitude specifically to God. So True Mother always talks about this, like a popular quote by her is like, I try to live today with more gratitude than yesterday, and then tomorrow with more gratitude than today. And like most things, like kind of like take it with a grain of salt. I'm like, okay, I don't really know what that means, but whatever, I guess I'll be grateful. But as I got older, maybe, like, it helped me realize like how powerful gratitude actually is. And I think nowadays, like just seeing what's going on in the world, right, there are people who like go to sleep and they don't even know if they're gonna wake up because their country's in war, or they go to like bed with like a empty stomach, and like those are never things that, you know, I have to worry about. I have a like place to live in, and like there are people around me that like care about me, and my parents will always be there for me. So like those are all things that like not everyone in the world necessarily has. So I think having that gratitude, rather than being resentful or like just sorry for yourself, can really like help you push forward. And yeah, like me personally, like I used to live, like when I was back at my parents' place, I would go to work like every day, and it would take me 2 hours each way. So I was taking 4 hours every day to commute to work. And I would get really bitter. Like I would just hate my life. Like I'm like, okay, like I'm just on this train for 2 hours a day, or 4 hours a day, and like I'm sweating. It's like super hot, and like now the train's delayed, and like okay, now I'm even more mad. And I get home, and like my family just has to deal with this version of me that's just like extremely in a bad mood, and I kind of like just ruin the vibe. Like my sisters can kind of like attest to this, but yeah, like maybe they're in a good mood, and I get home and I just ruin it. And I realized like it's because I just didn't have gratitude. Like there was just one simple thing. If I just had gratitude, like I would not have any of that situation, right? It's like I should be grateful that I have a job, to go to, that I can pay for a train ticket, I have a car to drive to the train station. These are all things that people do not have, or obviously a lot of people don't have. So yeah, anyway, I just think having gratitude in general, I guess, life itself is a blessing. There's so many things that we have to be grateful for, and if not anything, it's just life in general. And the last one, number 6, is to tithe. So I promise I was not told to talk about this. This is just my own belief. And it's actually something I struggle with individually as well. I think most people, generation, it's not easy to tithe, if we're going to be honest. And for a long time, I didn't want to do it. But ultimately, I think part of why is because Naomi wanted me to, so I did it. But another reason is that I think tithing is a sign of faith because despite not knowing how it's spent or how it's allocated, or maybe you do know how it's spent, and because of that you don't want it to donate, I still do it. And it's like a sign that you want to contribute to the church, you want to help, and you have faith that it'll be used for God's purposes. Now, obviously, that is what it's used for, but I think everyone would rather spend it differently, right? But I still donate because I have that faith. And the way I see it is also like letting go of greed, because I can't, whenever I look at myself and think, okay, like why don't I want to tithe? Like I can't help but look at myself and think like, okay, you're just being greedy. Like you really can't let go of like just 10% of your income. Like, and obviously everyone's at different levels of income, but just 10% I feel like is a sign or a way to kind of let go of your greed, to let go of, I need all this money for myself, and recognizing that like, you know, where it came from and for me, like I have so much to be grateful for, like growing up in this movement, just the values that I have, I feel like allows me to understand the world in such a better way, and have the blueprint for like a life that is really fulfilling. And to me, like to give some money back and express gratitude for that is like a small price to pay. And so yeah, that's the way I try to think about it. And no, it's not easy, but I still try to do it, yes. So yeah, going back to the main point, again, like, forget everything, it's fine, just remember this point, is that faith is practiced in the small choices, not just the obvious acts. And that's it for me. So we have some reflection questions. Yeah, we can, you can like pair share, and that's it for me.
All right, thank you guys. You can start to wrap up your discussions, bring it to a close. I think for myself personally, my favorite quote or my favorite thing that he said, I guess my two favorites. I really liked the God's Words quote he put up about representing God in like your everyday actions and how you go out in the world and you become like a representative of goodness, somebody who sprinkles a little more joy in other people's day. And that in itself is God's work. But another thing I really liked was the suggestion, before you complain, act first. I think that's really important. And for me too, I'm a very big complainer about everything that's happening, about the way the church is run, about the fact that there's no AC, about the fact that there's somebody downstairs where we're supposed to be having home base, about the fact that so many things I can complain and complain. But my goal and the thing that I really want to work on, and even the reason this whole program was born, was out of a desire to change the things that I want to complain about. So my complaint at first was, hey, I feel like young adults are overlooked. There's youth ministry, there's adult ministry, there's young couples things, but there's nothing for young adults. So why not change that? Why not make something? And that's how this whole thing was born. And I feel like every person can have that kind of power as long as we decide to take the responsibility. And even if you feel like, oh, I don't want to take anything on big way, if you just take your complaint and reframe it as a suggestion and tell the person that actually can make a difference, that's very helpful, because people sometimes don't see the things that are going wrong if they're always the ones in charge trying to run things. So even if you just want to suggest, hey, why don't we do this? Or what if we change this? Or what if we move this? Or something like that you felt was a complaint, that's, I think, always welcome, as long as it's done with a level of, respect. So yeah, thank you, Chanwoo. That was really, I think, really grounded talk. And we really appreciate those practical points that we can use. So to, finish off home base, my favorite portion, as always, is our music. So yeah, I hope you guys can feel these songs. These are always songs we choose that we of the band really resonate with, that hits our souls. And maybe you like music, maybe you don't. But there's always, I think, a way to learn from people's expressions of their heart. And that's really what music is. And so if you know a song and you want to sing, please sing. But if you don't want to sing, in some other way, try to really feel the words. You can clap if you want to. Personally, I prefer tapping on the bench in front of me rather than clapping. I don't know why, it feels better. You can put your hands all over the place. Myself, I like putting it on my heart because I feel the warmth. And for some reason, the words sink in deeper. You can just look at the lyrics, or you can close your eyes. But whatever it is you're doing, just try to genuinely connect to the words that are being said, because all of these songs is something so deep and meaningful and beautiful. And music in itself is an expression of God, and it's an expression of how people have felt God. All right, let's get started. Please stand up.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low?
I can finally sing out, Jehovah Jireh, provider, your way always gets me higher. Even on my darkest days, you're a lighter, my Messiah. I need you now more than ever. Would you put my heart back together? I searched the world to my head just to find out your ways better. Your ways better. Your ways better. Your ways better. Jesus, Lord, I need you now more than ever. Would you put my heart back together? I searched the world to my head just to find out your ways better. Your ways better. Your ways better. Lord, your ways better. Jesus, your ways better. Your ways better. Your ways better. Your ways better. Jesus, your ways better.
All right, thank you guys for being here once again. I hope you enjoyed. I really felt like you guys, I don't know, you felt it this time. Yeah, come back next month. Come back every month after that. And if you have any suggestions about whether we should move or whether we should just stay and listen to their beautiful music while we're talking, let me know. Let me know. So yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Maybe if we're loud enough and we're good enough, they'll just come up here. All right, so since we can't use the fellowship hall, we can use the Magnolia room. There is an AC up there. There's no boba this month, but we put out board games, and so you guys can just hang out, talk to people, and just have a good rest of your night. So yeah, just head upstairs. Don't go down into the fellowship hall, because they're still using that. But yeah, thanks for coming. Great to see you all. Have a good rest of your night.